What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Stocks by the Numbers, and I'm doing a quick update here on something I called out, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, or I don't know, a month or two ago. I don't remember when it was. But name of the company we're looking at, Target Corporation, ticker symbol TGT, listed here on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, stock right now sub $124, down almost 4 points, 3% even right now as we speak. But as you see here, the company hit new 52-week lows down at 122.64. Now, the last several days, if you were in the Discord, again, another reminder, shout out to the Discord crew. If you guys want to join the Discord, link is in the description of every video. And I strongly suggest anyone who has the time or is sitting there trading, looking for quick returns, in my opinion, you should join the Discord. Of course, I get some wrong. However, I'm right more than I'm wrong, and this is one example. So TGT, I mentioned about a pullback here long time ago down to 115.17, and now we're only a handful of points away. Now, we spoke about the boycott, and as we see here looking at earnings, the company came in several $100 million below analyst expectations. Now, the stock finally, after these last couple of fake BS days, in my opinion, finally broke like that 129, 130 level and just completely chunked down in the last 2 days as we look here. Was holding above this trend line, and now Monday you see like mid-morning we broke down and it started to drop to 127s, 128s, and now today we have a massive drop at the open to new lows, and it's trying to slowly rebound. Looks like it may potentially reject off that 20-day moving average and continue to go lower as well. This is why we talk about the power of the dollar, and you have to follow the money, right? Because regardless of anyone in here when it was sideways who thought that the boycott was overblown, blown up out of proportion, something like that, and you thought it wasn't going to impact the stock, well, hey, not necessarily shame on you. I'm not saying you should beat yourself up because you missed out on this one, but this is something to now keep in mind moving forward, right? When the people speak, the people have the powers of the dollars. And when people decide, hey, I'm not buying Budweiser anymore, or hey, tell everyone and their brother never to shop at Target again, let me tell you something. Situations like that will, hands down, impact the price of the stock, and that is exactly what you're seeing here. Target coming down to, again, new lows, 122.64. We don't even have to look at the numbers because it's more psychological, it's more situational here at this point. And, again, I do feel that we are going to pull back, continuing to new lows, and drop down probably 115.5 at least, and try to get close to that level. Target, again, in the crosshairs due to the boycott, and boy, did we get that one right. Sorry. But RSI here, still above 35, so hasn't completely bottomed out. Last time it bottomed out here, you had the pop up, but I believe that was also because of earnings. But now what we're seeing here is MACD slipping, didn't cross and get back above after that pop, like I'm sure a lot of people who were long on TGT would have liked to see, but we continued to pull back and sell off. So believe it or not, we actually still have room to drop. Stock right now well below the bottom Bollinger Band by about a full point on the daily. Switching over here to the weekly as well, you can see the RSI has gotten beaten up, but it's still sitting at about 33 1/3, so we still have more room to go. Again, looked like the MACD was potentially going to cross on the couple of those upbeat days, and now has started to pull back, and now may potentially continue to sell off. I do not see the stock rebounding until it hits that trend line, in my opinion. Now, on the weekly, looking at these pivot points, we can see a support level down at 103.85. That might be a little extreme. That might be a little extreme, in my opinion. But as we see here on the daily, coming back to this second support level, excuse me, talking myself out of breath here. You can see that the pivot point was 123.64, and the stock obviously broke that, but is now slightly above that support level. So that, in my opinion, is going to be our key level now moving forward. We want to see if the stock closes above this support level and potentially will rise a few dollars or at least remain stable for a couple of days, or it will potentially close below this support level. And then, of course, in my opinion, next stop 115. So I know I had some mixed reviews because I know some people saw this big drop down and said, no, it's an overreaction. It's still a good company. They're still popular. People are still going there no matter what. So I completely understand if you went long down here during this stagnation or even jumped in some calls here after earnings. And obviously I know I'm playing Captain Hindsight here, but if I personally did roll the dice with TGT calls and then they popped up after earnings when they shouldn't have, of course, because they missed earnings, then obviously I would have immediately sold. But the second someone brought this to my attention in Discord and I saw that TGT was up on an earnings miss, I immediately called out puts on TGT. So if you were in the Discord, you would have gotten involved. Hopefully you would have bought some time, a couple of weeks on the options, and boom, you would be making some serious healthy returns right now. Chances are, people would have grabbed, like 128 puts or something, and now you're sitting here, again, the stock hit new lows down at 122 and change. So you definitely would have cleaned up there in this situation. I personally do feel we may have more room to go. My air conditioner randomly turning on. But I do feel we may have more room to drop down, again, to around that 115 level. Of course, it could try to climb up and reclaim this fib here, 127.19, and potentially try to get back above this little trend line here that I drew out. But I don't know. I do still have a feeling it's going to go down before it goes up. But again, I called this one a while ago, and right now, if you're asking me, should I buy puts? Is it going down to 115? Again, I think now it's about this support level. So now, as we see, it's ticking up a little bit, slightly above 124. Again, key support level to watch, 123.64. So if you want to throw this one on your watch list, keep an eye on it. Perhaps set an alert, if this thing breaks like 123.5 and starts to trend back downwards, then you could potentially jump in and buy some puts and ride that wave down. Or we could potentially, again, see a bounce. And if we get back above this trend line here, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to need, like 127.75. So it's going to need to rally a couple of bucks here. But if it does happen to bounce and rally back up to that trend line, then we may potentially see a little short-term rise before we see another drop down. Again, this is going to be our line right here, like this, right? So if we get above this, then we're probably going to rise. And then this is going to be your next key level where you will most likely see a rejection and it will come back down. It really shouldn't. In my opinion, it really shouldn't get above this line, let alone this line. But, of course, as we know, anything can happen. And I rolled the dice with some short-term puts on it that expired last Friday. And then, of course, the stock drops Monday and then hits new lows today on Tuesday. So there you go. That's a perfect example, again, going back to one of my original rules where I always tell you guys to buy time. Because I will admit, I played that one wrong. I thought throughout the day when it reported earnings, it was just going to completely shit the bed. And as you see, they actually slowly brought it up and kept it steady and stable, well above like that 129, 130 level for several days. Because I'm sure a lot of other traders thought exactly how I did, and they jumped in for those immediate puts, expecting that immediate sell-off. And this is what the market does. They basically laid it out so that it moves up and down when it's really not supposed to, and then screws over the shorter term traders. And I know it sucks because we were right and we were on the right track. We just did not have enough time, which is why I always say, if you know a situation is going to happen, buy time. I personally had no reason and no excuse to buy puts on this expiring this Friday that just passed. I should have bought out at least like September 1st, right? Think about it. If the stock's at 130, 131, you stepped in, you bought like September 1st, 120s. Again, stock hit 122.64, trust me when I tell you, you would have cleaned up. But again, moving forward, if you weren't involved in this situation, you do have that level to watch, that support level again, to reiterate, 123.64. But overall, again, moving forward, in my opinion, maybe you'll make a note to yourself that the next time people talk about boycotting the company, you make sure you position yourself into some puts, because it more than likely will eventually happen. But I'm going to end it there. So once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, oh my God. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up, algorithm, helps me get more eyes on the channel. Share the video, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That is our handshake agreement. I will do updates on all of these companies that you guys are watching or holding. I had, again, a situation here with TGT, called out the boycott, said I would personally buy puts. It works out. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But again, I will make any potential short-term calls, any long-term calls for you guys. If I have any scalp or day trades, I'll try to call them out in the Discord. And again, I really don't mind doing all of it, but just do me a favor. Handshake agreement. If you're going to enjoy the content, absorb some of the knowledge and some of the little rules that I learned over the years and implement them into your own strategy, and if it starts to help you out, if you take some of these recommendations, you make yourself a couple of dollars, do me a favor. Help me help you. Push the subscribe button. That is the handshake agreement. That's all I ask from you guys. But moving forward, more importantly, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky and they're volatile and they are very uncertain. So I want to wish everyone success. Hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for stopping by. Catch you in the next one.